Silver and gold are the solution. You'll understand by the end of the video. You're going to be shocked when you hear the number of your fellow Americans who could not afford a $400 emergency bill that came in right now. If their car broke down, if they had a medical emergency, and the bill was $400, the number of people who couldn't afford that is astounding. What's even more astounding is we get news that banks are doing something to limit the amount of money that people can take out of their bank accounts. Could these people, if they even had the money, get the money out of their accounts? Things are getting crazy. We talk about this all the time, the importance of being prepared. Are you prepared? Do you stack silver? Do you have some money set aside in case an emergency comes up? It is so critical because we are in turbulent times right now, and it appears that things are going to get even more turbulent. You know, last summer, I was with my family. We were driving to Wisconsin in our Honda Odyssey minivan. My wife, twin daughters, and we even had our sister-in-law's dog. Our car broke down. Halfway there, the car just shut off. I had to find a backwoods mechanic in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, to put a new alternator into our Honda Odyssey. He charged me $700. Luckily, I had that exact amount of cash in my wallet and I was able to pay it. But a lot of Americans, a big percentage, couldn't do that right now. Could you do that right now? Guys, it's so important we're prepared, and we're going to talk about that right now. Hey, if you can't afford a $400 emergency expense right now, you're not alone. We get this from Fortune magazine. Turbulence ahead. Nearly 4 in 10 Americans lack enough money to cover a $400 emergency expense. How have you experienced inflation and lack of wage increases? Do you feel it when you go to the grocery store? Do you feel it when you go to Home Depot? Do you feel it when you go to the gas station? Americans are suffering. The middle class is being squeezed like no other time in modern history. But then we get this report from the Federal Reserve. And don't they always kind of paint the brightest picture anyway? Well, the brightest they could paint it was not pretty. Let me read a couple of these statistics to you right now. According to the Fed's 2022 Economic Well-Being of U.S. Households survey, released just last Monday, some 37% of Americans lack enough money to cover a $400 emergency expense. That's way up from just 32% in 2021. That means that nearly 1 in 4 consumers would have to use credit, turn to family, sell assets, or get a loan in order to cover any major unexpected cost. And when asked about non-emergency expenses, 18%, nearly 1 in 5 of Americans said the largest expense they could cover using only their savings is $100. Guys, where do we start ripping this data apart, right? 1 in 5 Americans doesn't even have more than $100 to cover an emergency expense. 1 in 5. There's no unexpected expense when you join me in the basement. It's always free for you. All I ask is that you subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. I'll give you a new video every day about gold, silver, and how we can navigate the turbulent waters ahead together. What if your alternator went out on your vehicle? Could you afford a $400 mechanic repair bill? Because 40% of Americans can't. What does that tell us about what's going on out there? We already know people are going through their savings. Savings are basically gone for the average American, and they've racked up credit card debt like no other time in history. Right now in America, we have $17 trillion in consumer debt. That's the highest it's ever been. And the kicker On top of that, have you considered the interest rate being charged on that huge debt balance is also at near all-time highs? Things are not looking good for the U.S. economy, not looking good for middle America. Nobody likes an unexpected major expense, but the only thing that would make it worse for us is if we went to our bank to withdraw the cash to pay for it and they gave us a hard time. And we're hearing about that more and more in the U.S., all around the world. Does it make you a little suspect, a little curious as to why banks are giving people such a hard time when they want to take cash out? Listen to this. We've got a story here. Major bank demands customers prove withdrawals are valid and warns cash can be refused at will. This is from Benzinga. Apparently, NatWest Group, which is a London-based bank, is asking customers to explain why they're withdrawing their cash. Why do they need to know, would be my question. And they give an answer that I think is very suspect. I'll be curious to hear what you think. Do you think this reason why they're demanding to know why their customers want their cash is a little fishy? I think it's real fishy. Listen to this. According to the company's website, the bank explained that it's taking measures to protect its clients from scams. NatWest said that if it finds the customer's response to its question about the cash withdrawal unsatisfactory, it will ask them to provide supporting documentation. I think it's a little fishy that they're asking these questions to begin with. Quote, "Our primary aim is to keep customers safe and secure. It's always done under the guise of safety and security. And our branches follow our processes carefully to achieve this. This will include asking you questions about the purpose of your cash withdrawal and, in some cases, for supporting documentation such as an invoice. This helps us validate the withdrawal is genuine and protect you against fraud and scams." I mean, could you imagine going to your bank and saying, "Hey, I need $1,000," and them saying, "What for?" And you'd be like, because I want $1,000. And then they demand that you provide them an invoice, a receipt for what you're going to use the money for. Hey, that's your money. That's my money. I should be able to take any and all of it out of the bank whenever I want, right? That's the whole idea behind having your money in a bank account. I think there's a fishy reason why they're doing this, and they're using safety and security as cover for why they're doing it. You know, there's a solution to this problem, and it's called being your own bank. I've often heard gold and silver stackers explain what they do as being their own central bank. Think about it. If you happen to have some silver stacked up in your possession, you have money, you have access. There's no counterparty risk, meaning you don't have to worry about anybody else providing you with the value. You hold the value. And on top of that, depending on how much you've got stacked up, you've also got enough to cover any unexpected expense. Hey, be careful out there. Go watch a live stream, and I'll see you soon.